Their concerns are the same, the challenges too. Two of the most influential cine stars of our time are coming together at 8 p.m. right here on CNN News 18. That's in an hour. On Epicentre tonight, 2.8 crore cases are pending in district courts across the country. Over 40 lakh cases are pending in the 24 high courts of India. The Supreme Court alone has a pendency of 60,000 cases. But our honorable judges want holidays. Their long vacations, which are a legacy of British Raj, are sacrosanct. Justice delayed is justice denied, and our long holidays adding to this. Good evening, everyone. I'm Marya Shakil, and getting you straight into the headlines.
There's a style that is kind of famous now where I put my arms out.
Yeah.
And I do nothing. I just put my arms out.
It's very smart.
Nothing, sir.
The kings of Hollywood and Bollywood in one frame. Brad Pitt's confession on why he had never made it to Hollywood, and Shah Rukh Khan on his favorite Brad Pitt film. That unmissable interview plays exclusively at 8 p.m. right here on CNN News 18. 3 cases slotted to be heard in this Supreme Court this summer. Only one on triple talaq is heard. Is the Chief Justice of India's ambitious plan to reduce summer vacations for judges crumbling? Horrific daylight murder in Kadapa in Andhra Pradesh. Man is hacked to death as bystanders just stand, watch and make mobile videos. Is Anil Kumble on his way out as India's head coach? BCCI invites applications for head coach's post. No automatic renewal for Kumble. There were 3 Supreme Court vacation benches that were supposed to sit this summer. But out of the 3, only one constitution bench on triple talaq met. With over 60,000 cases pending in Supreme Court, the judges still believe in taking over a 7-week summer vacation. The Supreme Court, remember, the Chief Justice of India, Justice J.S. Kher, had mooted this idea that summer breaks should be utilized for important cases. The CJI had declared that 3 key cases should be heard during the summer vacations. 3 Supreme Court benches were scheduled to hear, one each on triple talaq, WhatsApp, privacy and citizenship cases. The Supreme Court bench on the citizenship case did not have a single sitting. The Supreme Court bench on WhatsApp privacy case was adjourned just after 2 days of hearing. In fact, the court's bench on the WhatsApp privacy case could not even decide on the preliminary issue. It's only the Apex Court bench, that was the Constitution bench on triple talaq, which was headed by the CJI himself, that completed the hearing in 6 days' time. Sources are now telling CNN News 18 the reason why it did not happen was because one senior judge opposed hearing during summer vacation. Sources also say that several senior counsels of Supreme Court have resisted this move of the Chief Justice of India. And speaking exclusively to CNN News 18, Union Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad had said that courts have the right to decide their own holidays and the government cannot intervene.
न्यायालय अपनी छुट्टियां खुद निर्धारित करती है, उसमें सरकार का दखल नहीं होता और होना नहीं चाहिए। लेकिन आपने देखा होगा इस बार इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट के 150वीं जयंती में स्वयं मुख्य न्यायाधीश ने आग्रह किया कि हम लोग छुट्टियों में काम करें। छुट्टियों में काफी काम हो रहा है। उन्होंने सभी हाई कोर्ट से अपील की, सभी हाई कोर्ट छुट्टियों को कम कर रहे हैं। तो एक अच्छी प्रक्रिया है। ऐसा भी लोग कहते हैं कि, और उसमें वजन भी है कि जजेस को इतना काम करना पड़ता है, 200 पेज के निर्णय देने पड़ते हैं, थोड़ा ब्रेक उनको स्वाध्याय के लिए भी चाहिए, और मैं उसे गलत नहीं मानता हूं। इसलिए हम लोग मिलकर काम कर रहे हैं। लेकिन मैं ऐसा मानता हूं कि ये निर्णय छुट्टियां कितनी हो, ये न्यायालय का है और उन्हीं का होना चाहिए। भारत सरकार के मंत्रियों को छुट्टियां नहीं मिलती हैं, सरकार किसी की हो। और मोदी जी में तो हमारे यहाँ हर रविवार सोमवार है। मुझे बहुत गर्व है हमारे प्रधानमंत्री पर, जितनी गंभीरता से वो मेहनत करते हैं और हम लोग से मेहनत करवाते हैं, इसलिए देश बदल रहा है। बहुत गर्व है उन पर हमको।
While the Supreme Court judges and lawyers are resisting the CJI's move to conduct hearings during the summer vacations, those who are fighting cases that have been dragging on for years are welcoming this idea, saying that it will help the wheels of justice move faster.
While it's the Supreme Court that gets the longest vacation, followed by the High Court and then the trial court, the work gets affected everywhere. I have with me some litigants here. आपके यहाँ पर कितने cases चल रहे हैं, आप हमें बता रहे थे?
मेरे यहाँ पे 7-8 केस चल रहे हैं।
कब से चल रहे हैं
ये सन 6 से 7 से चालू हो रहे हैं और अभी तक मेरे को किसी का न्याय ही नहीं मिल रहा है मुझे। और 7 से 12 का जब कोर्ट होता है तो कुछ भी काम नहीं होता है, तो ये टाइम ही नहीं होना चाहिए कोर्ट का। 10 से 5 के कोर्ट में कुछ काम तो होता है, समय भी मिलता है, इसमें कुछ न तो समय मिलता है न काम होता है।
चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया है, उन्होंने कोशिश की है कि शॉर्टन की जाए, ये जो छुट्टियां हैं इनको थोड़ा छोटा किया जाए, लेकिन लॉयर्स और जजेस में इसमें कंसेंसस नहीं बन पाता।
ऐसे है ना, कभी तो जज नहीं सुनते हैं, कभी वकील नहीं सुनते हैं, तो सुनाई नहीं होती है। बस आते हैं, तारीखें पड़ जाती है, आते हैं, तारीखें पड़ जाती है। अब सारे दिन मैं यहाँ पे बैठी रहती हूँ, भूखी प्यासी आती हूँ सवेरे से और शाम तक बैठी रहती हूँ, कुछ ही काम नहीं होता है। बस
जो वेकेशंस की बात है, ये पहले अंग्रेज़ों के ज़माने के बनाए हुए नियम हैं। उनको गर्मी ज़्यादा लगती थी तो वो समर टाइम में कोर्ट को मॉर्निंग का कर देते थे और वो चले जाते थे हिल स्टेशन पे। लेकिन अभी भी दुर्भाग्य है इस देश का कि जहाँ करोड़ों केस पेंडिंग हैं और जुडिशरी, चाहे वो हाई कोर्ट हो, सेशन कोर्ट में सिविल वर्क की छुट्टी की जा रही है और हाई कोर्ट तो 4 तारीख से पूरे 1 महीने के लिए छुट्टी पे है। तो जो परिवादी आते हैं, जो प्रार्थी हैं, वो दर की ठोकरें खा रहे हैं। उनको डेट दे दी जाती है और मिलता क्या है, सिर्फ तारीख पे तारीख, न्याय नहीं मिलता। ये दुर्भाग्य है देश का।
सुप्रीम कोर्ट की जो पहल है वो अच्छी पहल है, लेकिन सुप्रीम कोर्ट को खुद को इटसेल्फ एक कदम उठाना पड़ेगा कि उनकी जो छुट्टियां हैं दिसंबर के समय 1-1.5 महीने का जो वेकेशन होता है या जो गर्मी की छुट्टियां होती है 2-1.5-2 महीने की, उनको पहले खुद शुरुआत करनी पड़ेगी, तभी अधीनस्थ न्यायालय या हाईकोर्ट से वो आशा कर सकते हैं। खुद आप ये चाहते हैं कि कंटिन्यूएशन में छुट्टी, सैटरडे की भी छुट्टी को अगर कैंसिल करना चाहे सुप्रीम कोर्ट तो चाह सकते हैं, तो हाईकोर्ट भी उसका पालन करेंगे।
Whether it's the litigants or the lawyers here seem to have a sense that pendency is a problem and something that should be dealt with, but Supreme Court, they feel, should lead by example and shorten its vacation. With Sushil Kumar in Jaipur, Swati Vashisht.
And remember, it was Justice Lodha who had earlier reduced the number of holiday weeks from 10 to 7 weeks. And joining us now in Epicentre at 7, former Supreme Court Judge, Justice Santosh Hegde. Justice Hegde, thanks so much for your time here. Let me begin by asking you, sir, the Supreme Court sits for just 193 days of 365 in a year, which is less than the trial courts and the high courts of India. And given the pendency, don't you think that the fellow judges of Chief Justice Keher should cooperate with him instead of opposing his move?
Well, I think as the situation is as of now, I think the number of holidays in the judiciary should be reduced. But then there was a justification at a point of time when the system came into vogue. Earlier during the British rule, most of the Superior Court judges were from abroad, from England, and away from their home. Maybe they wanted some holidays to go and visit their family and come back and all. Well, in that background, I think we could reduce the number of holidays available, now available to the judges. But let me tell you frankly, the job of a judge is not similar to that of a lawyer or any other administrative person. He not only works in the court, he works at home, and he puts in a huge number of hours to prepare his case. As a matter of fact, when I was a judge in the Supreme Court, on a Monday we used to have 80 to 85 special leave petitions, and each petition was of 30 to 40 pages minimum, I'm talking about, and we had to read that 80 to 85 cases through Friday evening, Saturday whole day, and Sunday maybe half day. So it is not a job where people work in the office, then go home and take rest. A real honest judge will take the file home, he has to study it.
But sir, the trial courts work for 245 days, the high courts work more than the Supreme Court. Don't you think that the Supreme Court judges should lead by example?
They should. As a matter of fact, they should learn from the situation there which is prevailing now. If a case is going to take up in the Supreme Court 8 to 9 years, it's not really delivering justice. But at the same time, you've got to understand the problems of a judge. If he's as I mentioned, if he's an honest judge to work for about 15 hours a day, on a Friday and Saturday, and maybe a little less that on a Sunday to prepare himself for the Monday morning miscellaneous matters. If he doesn't study the case and if he leaves it to the lawyers to argue, then in the whole day you can't hear 3 SLPs or 4 SLPs. Then it itself will become a backlog there. What I'm trying to impress upon is there is a much larger strain on the body of a honest working judge as compared to an administrative officer or anybody else. An administrative officer goes to office around 10 o'clock in the morning and comes back home at 5 o'clock and does whatever recreation he wants to have, which is not available for a judge.
Right. Justice Hegde, you just heard from the litigants from Jaipur. Why should people who are waiting for years for speedy disposal of their cases be made to wait? This is criminal wastage of their time. And sir, the fact is that justice delayed is justice denied.
Yeah, so there are many such sayings. There's a justice hurried is justice buried also. So let's not stick to a slogan on that. What I'm trying to say is, yes, there should be reduction in the number of holidays that the judges are enjoying. But at the same time, don't compare it with an administrative officer or some other post where they work from 10 to 5. There's a large amount of strain on the mind of the judge. So if he has to still be sane enough, he requires some holiday, not as much as it is presently available to them. As I mentioned to you, the present long summer holidays was because of the fact that judges came from abroad. Now that situation is not there. So they can reduce the number of holidays now and keep in mind the backlog pending in their courts.
Right, and the law and order concludes with the judiciary, and if I were to make a comparison, say the number of hours, of course you'll say that a policeman's job is more manual, but policemen work round the clock, while judges have a fixed schedule largely from 10 to 5 p.m.
But madam, there is a lot of difference between a physical strain and a mental strain. Anyway, I agree with you that because of the large pending of cases, I think the summer holidays should be reduced and the time must be spent for the disposal of the cases.
Justice Santosh Hegde, thanks so much for your time here on Epicentre. There is a long pending recommendation of Law Commission for scrapping long court vacations as well, which are clearly being ignored. Should there be a common pattern on holidays from the Supreme Court to the lower courts? Joining us now, Indra Jaising. She is the former Additional Solicitor General of India, and Sumant Batra. He is a senior lawyer of the Supreme Court. Indra Jaising, lawyers say they want some time at leisure. Judges say if they don't get assistance by lawyers, how will they work? Where does the buck stop?
Well, to say that we need some time off is neither here nor there. Every human being needs time off. It's a vacation, or if you like, a break from the hectic schedule of work is necessary for good health. No one can dispute that proposition. The critical issue, however, is how much is enough. And it seems to me obvious that out of 365 working days, if you're working only 180 or 190 days, you have far too many vacations. I've got the calendar right in front of me, the Supreme Court calendar. We have a week off in March, and a week means 10 days. We have time off in May, as you know, 45 days. We again have a week off in September, again a week off in October, and again 2 weeks off in December. So you can see the number of breaks that we have. So granting that we need time off, the question still remains whether the Supreme Court itself is not working as much as it should, not only to deal with this dependency, but even otherwise.
But ma'am, don't you think...
no reason why we...
But ma'am, don't you think what has happened in the Supreme Court in this time around, where lawyers and judges have refused to continue with the vacation court, which essentially means that they will not be sitting together. So all those cases that are pending will continue to remain in abeyance till the time the sitting actually happens. So in another 7 weeks.
Now, listen, I think you're mixing up issues over here. What was planned was during the vacation, the nature of the cases that was being heard were the type of cases which need undisturbed attention. For example, last year, the Chief Justice of India, who is now the Chief Justice, was heading a bench which heard the NJAC case, which required dedicated, undisturbed hearing. Similarly, this year, the 3 cases that were listed, each was of higher magnitude and each one required an undisturbed hearing. That was the logic behind fixing them during the vacation, because if it's during the working week, Monday's gone away and Friday's gone away, and then you have just 3 or 4 days within which to hear the case. So there was a huge and very sound logic behind wanting to hear it during the vacation.
I'm talking about, let me get Sumant Batra on this. The hearing on citizenship won't have concluded in 2 weeks, and that's the reason perhaps it did not even start. When the CJI had constituted this bench, the question should have been kept in mind that it would not have concluded in 2 weeks' time.
So, you know, Marya, the first point that I'd like to make is that, you know, I fully agree with Ms. Jaisingh that, you know, these 2 cases that could not proceed during the vacation had their own reasons, and you can't link it with the fact that the lawyers were not willing to work or the judges were not willing to work. The fact of the matter is that over the last 3 to 4 years, there has been a substantial reduction in the vacation across the country in different high courts and including in Supreme Court. We all know that there used to be 10 weeks long summer vacation at some point in time, which has been over a period of time.
Sumant Batra, even then, it is much more than the trial courts, it's much more than the high courts.
Oh yes, yes. So you have to appreciate, Marya, that there are certain things that need to happen incrementally, and they have been happening, and there has been no resistance in reduction from 10 weeks to 7 weeks as the Supreme Court summer vacation currently stands. And similarly in the Delhi High Court and in other high courts across the country, there has been a substantial reduction, and it was only possible because the judges and the lawyers built a consensus around it. But it will be unfair to expect that they should be completely stopped altogether. And these 2 cases were fixed because, as Ms. Jaisingh was mentioning, that they demanded an attention without interruption. Now, it is a different matter that these 2 cases could not proceed because either the lawyers were not available or in some cases the judges were not available. But to link it with the general issue that there is a resistance of the lawyers or the judges against having
let's look at the larger issue.
Is not fair.
If we were to look at the larger issue, Indira Jaisingh here, that why is it that in the Supreme Court there are only a dozen lawyers who argue in all the cases? So is it like that dozen lawyers, they are controlling the roster of the Supreme Court?
Yes, I think you've hit the nail on the head. As for the resistance of the seniors, they did say that we are required in all the 3 courts. Now, this is strange. The point is, if you have taken a heavy case in hand, you need to dedicate your time and attention to that case and that court. You have to learn how to give up the other cases, which is not happening. Secondly, just a minute, I don't agree that the case could not have been finished in 2 weeks. When it came to the triple talaq case, and rightly so, I found that the Chief Justice put the guillotine, did not allow lawyers to go on endlessly speaking in court. Written arguments were filed to save time, and we were given a limited amount of time to make oral arguments. I think that's the key to understanding what's wrong with the system. I think throughout the working period of the Supreme Court, we need to make sure that lawyers file written briefs, and as Justice Hegde said, they read their briefs at home. In open court, we reduce the court amount of time that is given to a lawyer to make their submissions. That is what will enhance the quality of the work in the Supreme Court. It will ensure clarity in the mind of the lawyer making the submissions. They won't be able to waffle and go all over the place and waste the time of the court. There are ways and ways of increasing the productivity of the court, which we need to look at.
Right. You know, Sumant Batra, the point that Indira Jaisingh agrees on is essentially this, that there are just few lawyers who are arguing in all important cases. Is that the reason why a number of lawyers also resisted this move of the CJI, besides, of course, his fellow judges opposing it?
Well, I won't really comment on the specifics of that, but I certainly do agree in principle with Ms. Singh that we certainly, monopolizing with certain few lawyers does, of course, impact the progress of certain cases because, all these lawyers want to be in all the three cases or other cases. So it does really, of course, make out a case for adjournments, and that is not reasonable. So surely, that is the problem that we need to address. And I think to some extent the onus also lies with the judges, who also need to encourage other lawyers, and I think the seniors also need to make room for other lawyers to appear. We have to accept that they can't be present in every case.
Right. Indra Jaising, let me give you the final word. I'm looking at what the then Chief Justice of India in 2014, he had written a letter to the Chief Justices of High Courts mooting this idea, and he had said that the courts should function all year round, giving individual judges the choice of holidays and vacations. So essentially what he was talking about is, why can't this sit in rotation? Do you think that is an idea that can work?
It can work. It's like a shift system, isn't it? Where you, as Justice Hegde said, and I agree with him that judges do need time off. They have a high-stress job. But yes, this can be done by rotation, and you can actually have a Supreme Court that works 365 days a year. So the judges will get their time off. Lawyers will, of course, complain. They will say, we can't work 365 days a year. Can we? Of course you can't. You take your vacations off. You can't be so greedy about the whole situation and say, all the work I should do 365 days a year. You have to learn to regulate your own work schedules, and that can be managed along with everybody getting time off, but the litigant not suffering. In today's context, litigants are suffering because all of us are taking too much time off, and all of us are trying to monopolize the work. That's not going to work anymore, I hope.
Yes, so don't monopolize the work. Perhaps that understanding that senior lawyers have can be done away with. The work can be distributed better. Indra Jaising, Sumant Batra, thanks so much for joining us. And let's look at the numbers. So 2.8 crore cases are pending in district courts across the country, and 40.54 cases are pending in 24 high courts of India. And that is the number till June 30th, 2016. So clearly the numbers are worrying, and justice delayed is justice denied. That's what we feel. But as Justice Hegde was saying, justice harried is justice buried. Well, that's the jury is still out on that. Slipping into a short break, coming up, horrific daylight murder in Kadapa in Andhra Pradesh. Man is hacked to death as bystanders just wait, watch and make mobile videos. Details when we return. Stay with us. Have we become a nation where we fail our fellow citizens? We don't come to help anyone anymore. We don't come for rescue, to aid when we see an individual bleed on the streets. Public apathy reached another peak today when bystanders in Kadapa district of Andhra Pradesh saw a man being hacked to death in broad daylight. Several bystanders stood by silently. Not one of them stopped this brutal murder. Instead, they filmed the gruesome attack on their phones. And what happened in Kadapa today was not a one-off incident. We have seen such apathy many times before, like in Bengaluru, when a man harassed a girl and no one came to help her, or in Delhi, where a man lay bleeding on the road after being hit by an auto rickshaw, but no one came forward to take him to the hospital, or when we saw in Madhya Pradesh where a man lay bleeding on the road after being hit by the convoy of the Chief Minister. What you see on your screens are just 4 instances, but there are many more, which makes us ask, is India now a nation of mere onlookers? What is more urgent, to inform the police when a man is bleeding to death in front of your own eyes? What is more urgent, to attempt to rescue someone who is being killed, or to film it using the mobile phones. Joining us now, Padma Shri Alec Padamsee. He is a veteran theatre actor and director. T.R. Kakkar is the former police commissioner of New Delhi. Mr. Padamsee, I'm coming to you. Voyeurism, it seems, in India has reached its pinnacle. Yeah. Today, what we saw in Kadapa, when a man is left to bleed on a street and the video is shot instead. Where have we come as a nation in this attempt, or rather temptation, to go viral?
I tell you, it's disgusting, disgraceful, and the fact that they were using their cell phones, they could have phoned the police, they could have phoned the hospital, they could have done anything to try and save that man's life. But what has happened is, yes, we have become a nation of spectators. I think it's one of the things that, you know, IPL has shown us, that we love to be spectators and watch things happen, you know. But this is murder. And I think we have to understand. I can just tell you that my own brother was traveling to Khandala when he met with an accident. A lorry knocked the car off the road. 2 children and my brother and his wife were lying unconscious on the side of the road in view of hundreds of cars that passed on the Bombay-Pune road. And nobody stopped except one taxi driver. God bless his soul. He stopped, took his passengers out of the taxi, said, please don't give me any money, I'm sorry about this. Put them in the taxi, his own taxi, turned around again and went back to Bombay to the Sion Hospital and entered them there. This is the kind of thing that a taxi driver, and another occasion, just happened 3 years ago, Keenan and Reuben, 2 young men, were sitting in a cafe with a couple of their lady friends. They got out of the cafe and some loafer on the road made some whistling sounds and ugly sounds, you know, the kind of sounds they make.
Let me get T.R. Kakkar here.
Keenan, who was a tough guy, he slapped him and the mob came. No, let me finish. The mob came, he slapped the young man, the man ran away. 10 minutes later, they came back with 50 people armed with rods, cricket bats, hockey sticks, and beat the 2 boys to death while a crowd gathered. Nobody bothered to use their cell phone to call the police or an ambulance. This is what happens.
What really has gone wrong with India in this? Have we lost our hearts in our attempt to be mindful, perhaps? T.R. Kakkar, does it have to do with the fact that Good Samaritan law is still not being enforced and there is a lack of awareness on the rights of an individual in such situations?
In this situation of Kadapa that you described just now, that a man was being hacked to death into pieces, a big crowd was there, they only became onlookers and started taking the videos. Now, I only would like to tell these people that, look, this is how we in India are killing the humanity. We are becoming totally insensitive to the problems of others. Now, as far as these cases are concerned, including accidents on the road, there is Supreme Court's order is very clear. Anyone who helps a bleeding person from the road to the hospital, police shall not question him unless he himself wants to come forward and give a statement. Now, I don't think this is known to many people. There is need to give big publicity to this. Now, in this case, I would like to say, when he was being hacked to death, anyone from among the crowd could have shot dead that person.
Sir, tell us.
And no case can be registered against him. No case can be registered against him.
Okay, sir, tell us this, that can the law really catch up with the individual who was in fact just standing and shooting this person, making videos? What can the law really do?
I don't think there is any law as of now to punish such a person, except the society can probably take him to task. But then everybody is so insensitive that there is no remedy. It is only his own conscience that must prick him, that while somebody is being put to death, you are making a video enjoying yourself. Now, it's only his own conscience can prick him. There is no law today.
You know, Alec Padamsee, the question is, do we really stop and make way for an ambulance in case you're on the streets and you're stuck in a traffic jam? You know, question is about the moral values, the principles which are fast deteriorating, and the sense of duty that is needed. And none of this can be taught in schools.
I can assure you it can be taught in school. When I was in school, one of the things that we learnt was good citizenship. We learned what it is to be a good Samaritan. Today, there is no such teaching in schools or colleges, that actually we are one nation and we must help each other. It's not that we are all individuals, and the basic thing is, hamara kya jata hai? This is a horrible, horrible attitude that has come into this country, and I think the government has to take a very strong view now and introduce good citizenship practices in schools and in colleges.
But what can the government do? I mean, when you say good citizenship practices, the government is talking about Swachh Bharat, but people have forgotten their even civic duties. The civic apathy is also very shocking.
They did. Yes, but they never learned it. They don't know what it is. I learned it, that's why I do it. I stop. If there's an accident, I will stop and see whether I can help. Someone's injured in a car, because my brother was killed that way. I've always been very conscious, and I'm telling you, it is something that is instilled in you at an early age, that you should help people in trouble. As you said quite rightly, the good Samaritan principle. But unless you're taught it, in our education system, we are so busy cramming for the exams and to get through so that we get good marks, so that we can get into college, so that we can get a good job. And it's forgotten that some of the human values for which India and Gandhiji taught us are famous. They have all been neglected by the government. I'm telling you, the government's fault.
Right. T.R. Kakkar, do you think it's the government's fault, or is it the fault of an individual?
Before I answer that, through your channel, I would like to inform all those who are listening to your program that there are exceptions under the law, and those exceptions are, I will not name all, I'll only give you two, that if you find someone being killed, or if someone is attacking you and you're getting killed, if you kill the person, no case will be registered. Similarly, if you find someone raping a woman, or the woman who is being raped kills the person, no case will be registered. There are 5 more such instances. These are called exceptions under the law. I don't think people know it. They are always scared.
Yes, people should be more educated.
If you find a woman being raped, or the woman who is being raped, she can kill the person, no case will be registered.
Right.
Now, coming back to the government, I don't think we have to blame the government every time. Now, these are the sensitive things which we have to learn, which our parents have to teach us, our teachers have to teach us, the society has to practice, and once society starts practicing, once we are taught these things at the childhood, things will be much better.
All right, we have really come to the end of this discussion. T.R. Kakkar, Padam Shri, Alec Padamsee, thanks so much for joining us. Humanism or fellow feeling does not really come from formal education or urban sophistication, but emerges from within. The question is, can schools really teach us what is needed as our duties as fellow citizens? On that note, we are slipping into a short break. Coming up, the big interview of Brad Pitt and Shah Rukh Khan. It's a moment of cinematic history. 2 global superstars in one frame. The unmissable Shah Rukh Khan, Brad Pitt interview plays out in just a few minutes on CNN News 18. We are leaving you with one excerpt where King Khan is giving Brad Pitt lessons on his iconic dance move. Thanks so much for watching.
There's a style that is kind of famous now where I put my arms out.
Yeah.
And I do nothing. I just put my arms out.
It's very smart.
Nothing.
Smart.
So